Don't flatter yourself, Ketros. This isn't fan service. Just kidding, you're a total bro. Welcome to my review of Omni. This is the second oldest MOC I have. More than a year, definitely. Just younger than the current version of Vanaru. Well, minus all the updates. And Omni here has a few updates of her own. Most notably in the trans red highlights. So, a little bit of history with this MOC. So, at very first, the color scheme was a lot of black and silver, and only that. And I had sort of imagined this kind of duelist character with a sword and just kind of very honorable, kind of like, you know, kind of like Weiss from Ruby, and except silver. So that didn't work out because, well, these silver Paraka limbs were so much more satisfying shape-wise, and so I didn't really have any in black, and so I just took out most of the black, the vast majority of the black, and it was completely silver. This MOC was completely silver. It was just like... It's just like as if I took the entire MOC and just sprayed it with chrome. That's how bad it was. It didn't look... It certainly was shaped very interestingly, but the colors were so bland, it had a lot of missed potential. And so, recently I've added a bunch of trans red. So the story, or if you could even call it that, the story of this MOC, Omni is a lesser shapeshifter, in that she can copy, to an extent, the appearance and abilities of others that she has witnessed. Now, this doesn't change too much of her own appearance. Usually, it just changes, like, the color of her armor, and I guess right now she must be copying somebody with trans red in their color scheme, because her base form is completely silver. She is just usually constantly copying somebody, and to show that off in MOC form would be very time-consuming and piece-consuming, so I don't usually. So yeah, the idea behind that sort of transforming was that it's not really an overpowered ability because, it's like having a team of weak Pokemon, but every time you find an enemy, you switch to the one that is super effective. And so, it helps her be versatile, it helps her be useful in many different situations, should I ever write her into anything. And so, yeah, let's dive right into those plastic shins and Fruit Fly! Fruit Fly! Get out of here. Them plastic shins. Almost there. Now this foot design is pretty insane, but you may recognize it from Comus of the Simic Combine. Now the Comus was a much newer MOC, and I did take this foot design from Omni, and where this foot design originally came from was one of Biorock Dude's versions of DeadX. And, yeah, it's pretty alright. Oh. Yeah, don't worry about that. Comus sheds those from time to time. She let me have it. Okay, so these feet, Oh. So, Comus usually keeps them apart to look like claws, you know. Omni usually keeps them together to look like kind of a boot. I mean, she can, but usually just doesn't. And it looks fantastic. Transred highlight, little hand connector on the back with a, what do I call those? What is that? It goes on the back of a cowboy's boot. A spur. Yes, she has a spur. So that's a thing. I really like that. It's a nice detail, I think. So let's go a little further up here to these ankles. Them plastic shins. So these upside down Paraka limbs, you know, there's nothing custom about them. They are what they are. Love that curve. It's got a really nice shape. I just love it. And you can see here on the back, it's got one of those. It's got these 2008 booster rocket thingamajigs, and I had to do a fair bit of weird custom shenanigans to get them to be on there. So you can see that pretty alright. But the way this limb is connected up there, the way this limb is connected is really unorthodox. Like, we have a hand connector sort of thing connected by 1/2 axle length to this half lift arm that is connected to the leg. And all of that for the purpose of putting this Hero Factory armor on the front. It looks really great, but it isn't the most sturdy thing in the world. That's why there's this black rubber band here, not too noticeable, fits right into that gap perfectly. Mwah. So let's put this back on. Ooh, there's a tire there to fill up the space. We don't want a stick figure. Coming to the front. The front. Oof. Now this is pretty alright. This is pretty cool. Because, running out of words already. So we got these Borak eyes in here, nice highlights. I was thinking of any way I could get these trans-red highlights in here. Oh, that kind of looks like a face. Wow. And so, all this insane customosity right here, I don't, freaking, do I have to explain it? Do I have to take it apart and give you a how-to? Because, goodness, I would need a how-to to build this again. Well, here's a little bit of a peek here at how this is constructed. Not too complicated. There are a fair bit of painted parts, as one can expect. And, oh yeah, I can't believe I forgot to mention this. This, I filled this in. I filled it in with putty and painted it over. And it looks a lot better that way, I think. I would do it with all of my slicer feet, but that would take a long time, and I don't have all the colors needed. Oof. That's a thing. And, yeah. So these legs are pretty insane. Something I would like to say about the overall look is that she kind of looks like Samus. I mean, that wasn't intentional, but once I saw it, I just kind of built towards that even more. And yeah, you know, Samus, it's a cool look. It's a cool look to have. So, these thighs here, this pelvis, these Rakshi limbs, Rakshi heads. Stop falling apart. Please stop falling apart. Okay, these Rakshi heads, they got a nice curve. They don't make people angry when you put them here because they're not used as the head. They're not one of those generic freaking Rakshi-headed, Nuva-boobed abominations. So this pelvis, it's exactly the same as Elegy's pelvis, except the legs are forced out a little bit because of this slicer foot shoved in here, and it's a little bit of a kind of, it's kind of loose, I guess. It can stay up. It's all right. I added enough. I sharpied that ball joint there enough to get it to stay, and that's all right. So on the back, move this hair thing out of the way, and she has a little kind of a skirt, a kind of metal greebly skirt of sorts. Now this is a fickle connection right here, because this did the same thing here with the slicer feet, by the way. This Metru, yeah, this Metru armor is it doesn't have a perfect rod right here. It doesn't have a perfect Lego stick connection, so the Exoforce arm, if it moves too much, if you take this Rakshi armor off, it will fall off. But the way it's connected, the way everything is connected, it usually stays, so that's all right. And a half rod length, half brick length, half something length of Lego rod is what is connecting this droid torso, and then this lightsaber rod, and then this little cone. So that's pretty cool. Moving up a little bit, we have this very skinny torso thing. It's connected down here with one axle, and then the rest of it is connected to itself. And it's got this little tube belt. That looks pretty. Gives it a little bit of personality, I think. And yeah, different colors of connector here can be placed here. So I guess that's one of the points where she would change her color scheme to match what she's copying. So this torso, holy crap, this torso. Holy freaking crap, this, look at this. Just get a good long look at this. Just look at, wow. So this slicer foot here, I had to put it backwards right here, but it doesn't look too bad. I had to put it backwards because her head wouldn't be able to, her neck wouldn't be able to move. So the way it is now, her neck can move, and that's fine and dandy, is what it is. Ugh. So that head's fragile. That head is super fragile. We'll get to that though. We'll get to that when we get to that. When we get to that. When we get to that. So this shoulder connection, it's not the most posable connection in the world, but it becomes it becomes vastly better. It becomes vastly more better when you take this shoulder crap off. She does look less like Samus, but she is at least 10 times cuter that way. Oh. Oh, I cut it. I cut it. It's okay, it was broken anyway. It was completely useless that way. And, well, I guess this can still connect if it was still there, but it was broken. It was taking up space. It didn't look as good when I took these off, so I just cut it. Yeah, I took a saw and I cut it. You actually need a clamp to keep it still. So that's a thing. That is indeed a thing. So we got this red heart light thing. I have a silver one, but before I had this red one, it was actually just a stud. And this tube here, this tube is kind of annoying because when you start fiddling with her, it starts to come out because it's really not long enough to. It's really not long enough. Slightly too short. That's disappointing. Oh yeah, forgot to mention articulation. So that's pretty great. That is pretty darn great. So she's great to look at on the shelf, but just don't play with her too much because she'll start falling apart like crazy. And it's weird because it looks really sturdy from at a glance, you know. So this head is, oof, one of the most fragile things about her. So it's a custom head, a very, very freaking custom head. And it's only connected by friction with this. Very oddly shaped, but the perfect shape to fit right inside these studs. So put her face back on. Friction that back on. And then friction the mask back on. And we got business as usual. So this hair connection, it's got all these tubes. This hair connection's pretty alright. We got a plate on the top to round it off. Looks really great. This hair is fairly new. I don't know. I think the only time she's appeared with this hair is in my RGB album. And she is the R, the red. This is hair. This hair. It looks pretty alright. These arms, though, something to mention is that they're completely hollow on the back, and there's kind of a reason for that, but first we need to talk about these arms here. These arms, I don't know exactly where they came from, you know, because they're kind of like freaking I can't remember. Vespa. They're kind of like Vespa, only, you know, without that oh so famous Technic piece. And painted this a little bit to make it look better. Tire here to fill it out. Love those tires. Little tire here. Doesn't impede posability too much, if at all. Whoop. And the lower arm is just another Procolim. Nice greeble here. See, this is what I meant when I said this piece was on a third of my box. Yeah, that's exactly what I meant. This piece is excellent. I love it. And then just a regular freaking silver hand connector. I could go more complex, but her arms are actually really, really long. Like, they hang they hang a whole hand lower than they probably should, anatomically speaking, on a human being, but she's not exactly a human. Actually, I was looking in the Dungeons and Dragons Monster Manual 3, and the first Monster Manual, and it said the changelings and doppelgangers, those guys, they actually have very lanky, long limbs, so do with that what you will. So there is a good reason, let me just put this shoulder armor back on just a sec. There's a very good reason that her hands are this simple. And I have tried adding fingers, but it kind of just got in the way. She has these guns. These double-barreled gun things. It turns her whole arm into a gun. And it looks pretty great. You can even do this thing where you, like, pretend to reload the gun. So, it's a little cumbersome to do in person, but in a stop motion, I think it would look great. So yeah, she has two of them. One for her other hand. Oh, that's backwards. Oh, so backwards. There we go. She has two of them. Let's zoom out. And zoom out. And they look pretty alright. Like, another thing she can do, which just makes me feel all tickly inside, is she can sort of shrug. And that looks so funny, I love it. I don't know. Why are my hands guns? I don't know. And so, and like when they're at rest, it looks sort of cute, and that's just, I love that. I freaking love that. Right, so I think all we need at this point is a full body view, just without these, because you got a full body view with those, and we just need without, for comparison with the rest of the body. So, I guess, like, if she's not fighting or whatever, she can just take off her shoulder pads and walk around like this, or if she needs, like, the extra mobility, she can just pop off those in the middle of a fight. I guess, like, in Smash Bros, this could be a projectile, like Samus's suit. Just pick up pieces of her suit and chuck it at people. Hilarious. Whew. What a beautiful mess. What a beautiful, fragile, hunky-junky, yet polished piece of crap. I love it. And that has been Omni. Goodbye.